think for a second about things that are too big to see. The economy, humanity, your ego when you get a job. Now, we obviously know these things exist because we're a part of them, but what we can't see are the forces that control them. Like when you fall down but you don't know why. Maybe there was a crack. Maybe you're just dumb. Or maybe some invisible hand pushed you to the ground. On December 10th, 1976, a man named Milton Friedman was awarded the Nobel Prize in Economics. It's a big deal, I know. Mill claimed that the world could thrive with little regulation, that prosperity was the result of what he called the free market. But I had to ask myself, sure, maybe some invisible hand is responsible for you falling on your face, but could it really be responsible for more?
I liked what he had to say. It made sense.
This is Ronald Reagan. He was president in the 1980s, just a few years after Mill won his Nobel Prize. The two were close. Some might say too close. He's dead now. Tragic, I know. But my producer, Dana, managed to track down some recordings of his thoughts.
I guess people would say I was the economic element of the U.S. I knew people, could get stuff done, but I didn't have any part of it otherwise. I let things trickle down, and eventually the bad stuff went away. I mean, not so much when I was around, but Bill really had it good for a while there in the 90s.
I had to admit he was right about one thing. The 90s were prosperous. The Chicago Bulls, the Olsen twins, Baywatch. But I just wasn't buying it yet.
This is a prepaid call from
Jason Arican,
an NBA inmate at the University of Chicago.
I mean, I don't know how it works. It just does. I mean, I know that's not helpful, but at the end of the day, the hand is there. I know it's there.
So what you're saying is the market is just free. Like, help walk me through that.
I mean, I know it sounds ludicrous that there's just like some hand that's around and stuff, but you're either gonna believe me or not.
Okay, but like the hand is invisible. Like, no one could ever see this working. You see where I'm struggling with that.
Yeah, I wish I could tell you more, but I just don't remember seeing any hands. Like, I just don't remember.
Jason sounded genuine. He also sounded kind of hot, but I'll leave that. At the end of the day, I still wasn't convinced. What I needed was an expert. So I called up Austin Goolsby. He's another professor at the university.
It's not possible. You can't have an economy that just exists without any regulation. It's appalling to think that you could have a society that functions without some restriction.
So you don't think it's responsible?
Sarah, a modern economy, year-over-year GDP growth, decent unemployment numbers, and a whole bunch of invisible hands just floating above our heads telling us, yeah, I got this. Well, okay.
Jason and Ronald telling me one thing and Austin telling me another. What I really needed to do at this point was get a life, but instead I wanted to try one more thing. I wanted to try to get in touch with the laureates, a subculture of academics awarded for their contributions to society. They're often seen as aloof, shady, a group of mostly men. Finding them was like trying to find a party at U Chicago. I couldn't. I did have one more source though, Mr. S. I'll call him this for now so I don't taint your opinion of him. You'll see why later. I had no reason to use him until now.
University of Chicago has very good professors. I'm sure they're right.
Okay, but you can see how that's like not really helpful. I need to know which one you think is more right.
The Economist published its annual ranking of the world's best. Chicago booth was ranked first. In the previous ranking, Chicago booth was ranked first.
It's probably obvious by now, but Mr. S stands for Sunil. Kumar. It's a mouthful, I know. I didn't want to tell you until now because Sunil has a rap sheet about a mile long. Dean of the business school, Stanford faculty. He was once on the cover of Harper's Bazaar. Anyway, I talked to Sunil for hours, or maybe it was minutes, but it felt like hours. We went round and round until finally...
The CEO of Microsoft will be visiting our campus this week.
There it was, the jackpot I'd been waiting for. Satya Nadella visit, CEO of Microsoft. If Sunil was friends with the CEO of Microsoft, does that mean that Sunil uses Windows? What if he uses doors? Or glass doors? And that got me thinking back to my original point, the one about you being on the ground and not remembering how you got there. Maybe you just ran into a glass door. Maybe someone's job is to actually push you through the door, like a little invisible man who's just standing there waiting for you to walk by. And that would mean that the invisible man is employed because he is invisible. See-through face, translucent hands. It makes him valuable, like someone who's fluent in Mandarin. Are you with me? It's crazy, right? To think that being invisible could actually create jobs. Invisible hand jobs. That's next week on Serial.